Hello everyone. Today tutorial we're gonna be focusing on extracting full file path, ingesting that data into Microsoft Access. And we're also gonna be creating a code to copy, rename, and folder the files automatically. For extracting the file paths, the full file path, we're gonna be using the command prompt. So let's jump into that, and I'm going to walk you through this. So the first thing is go into your search window and type CMD. You're gonna see the command prompt, double click on it. Through here, now you can navigate to the folder location that you want to loop through. In this case, for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to use the C drive, but you guys can specify any folder. And the way that you do it is the following way. For example, let's say you were interested on looping through all the files within this directory. You will just copy these. You will come on to the command prompt, do cd, right click, and paste. And now that will be the baseline with regards to the looping. In my case, I want to loop the C drive. So I'll wait to, it's the same way. You can do cd and pretty much type what you want. And now I can loop to the C drive. Now the command to do this, and I want to do it, I want to loop through all subdirectories, will be the first one is dirt, which is specifying that we actually interested in directories. The second will be a minus d. Here what I'm doing is I want to remove entries that only signifies folders. So I'm not interested just on folders. I'm interested on the full file path that goes down all the way to the file name. So that's what this is doing here. This is just the bare file path as what you will see in a folder. Let me show you real quick so you can have an idea on this. If I go, for example, here, what I'm literally extracting is this file path, and it will have the backslash and the file name. And then I also need an S, backslash S, and what the S does, it actually loops through also directories because we want to capture all of those as well. So this is pretty much the command that we're going to be using here. So you're running this command across the entire C drive. On my case, for purpose of this exercise, I just going to do it on PNG files, but you can just run this command as it is and just write it into a text file. But now I just want to specify PNGs, .pngs, .png, and I'm going to write it into a text file, and I'm gonna put it on my desktop. Go back here. I'm just gonna put it in here. Okay, I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna paste this path here, and then I'm gonna name the text file anything that you want. I'm gonna call it tutorial.txt. Now you have the whole command. All you have to do is press enter. So right now it's running, and it's extracting the full path for the files exactly how I want them to be. I'm going to show you the results in a little bit once it's done. Had to give it some time here. For the time being, let me make a copy so you guys can see exactly what it's doing. So if I create a copy and I open my copy, as you can see, it's literally just extracting the ball path with the file names. So it's not usually when you just run that command without the a-d, you will see entries that will only have the folder, which I don't care about in this case. I want the full path all the way to the file. So let me see how that's going. Oh, it completed already, so we have the final txt file here, and we have all these PNGs to work with. Okay, now what I'm gonna do from here, I'm going to be using Microsoft Access. I'm going to import this data into Microsoft Access, and then I'm going to walk you through a module that I created in Microsoft Access to automatically copy and rename and folder these files on the fly. So let me go into this Microsoft Access database that I have here. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get that text file and I'm going to import it into Microsoft Access. So let me walk you through that. So the first thing that you want to do is click on external data. We are gonna go into new data source. You want to do from file, and in this case it's a text file. So I'm gonna click here, and I'm going to navigate to the path where I have the text file, which I put it here. So you can pretty much just copy the path here from Windows, Control C. You can go to browse, you can paste the path, and now I can double click on the tutorial.txt file. You can just say leave as it is, import the source data into a new table in the current database, and click OK. Here I'm going to use fits width, and I'm going to the advanced option here. This is how the data is being displayed, because that's just by default. It tried to read the data, but this is not ideally how I want it. I'm going to delete the second field. And the reason that it has two of them here is because the path, or the length of the path, it goes over what assets decided to assign. But I'm going to account for that. What I'm gonna do is these two, I'm just gonna highlight it and click on delete. So that's one is gone. The field name here, I'm gonna name it full path. I'm gonna keep this as just shortcuts. But here, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna do something different here. I don't want a shortcuts just in case it goes over the limit, which I believe is 255. I'm going to use long text in this case. And the width here, which is the length of the string, I'm gonna set it up to 10,000 just to make sure that we account for any possible issues. So I'm gonna click on OK. I'm gonna do next. The name is it's a little screwed here. That's fine. I can just change it here, just for validation purposes. Path. Then I do next. I don't care. I don't want no primary keys here. You do next, and I'm gonna keep the name as it is, tutorial, and let me name this table. And you can just pretty much do enter or just finish here. So it finished importing it. So it would, now you will see that we have a tutorial table. If you double click on it, it's pretty much a mirror of the text file, but now we have it in a tabular format. And the reason that I want it like this is because I'm gonna be looping. This is what we're gonna be using as our baseline. So I'm gonna be looping to this automatically, and I'm gonna be copying, renaming, and foldering all these files. So this is a good way, and also it's good practice when you are starting to learn data manipulation or manipulating files as a whole. As you can see here, we have 23,971 files. So I'm gonna close this, and I'm gonna go into what is gonna do the magic here. So I wrote this code earlier today, but I'm gonna walk you, step by step, so you know exactly what it's doing. If you have any thoughts or inputs, or you would like for me to show any other data transformation or moving files, at exercises using Microsoft Access, please do not hesitate to let me know, and I will gather everything necessary, and I will post another video to walk you through the steps on how to do it. Now, going to the code here, I named this function tutorial. The first variable here, which I just named rs, is I'm using this reference here in order to open the table with Microsoft Access. It's called a DAO record set. So this is pretty much just available to open the table. Now, before I go further here, you want to make sure that when you copy this code, and in order for it to work properly, that you go to Tools and you click on References, and make sure that the following 5 library are selected. So you want to make sure that Visual Basic for application is selected, Microsoft Access is selected, Oli Automation is selected, Microsoft Office. It doesn't have to be necessarily the same number here, 16, but make sure that you select the library. You will have them there by default. And also Microsoft Scripting Runtime. So make sure these 5 libraries are selected before you run the code. The second variable here, which is I name it FSO, is a file system object that is coming from one of the selected libraries, and this particular library is the one that we're gonna be using to copy the files, and also generate a generic folder for foldering purposes. Here, this other variable here, name a file generic naming, is a variable that we're gonna be using to creating a generic name for the files. This one here we're gonna be using to count the files, because in this particular exercise, I wanted to also show you guys how to place the files um, per size. For example, like in Windows, you don't want to throw 20,000 files into one single folder because it's just going to become laggy. So in this case, I'm setting it to a number uh, that you desire to have. For example, if you just want to have 1,000 files or 100 files within a folder, this is why I'm using this counter here. This folder counter here is another variable that I'm using as a means to create new generic folders. For example, like like if I'm creating, in this case, I'm gonna be creating generic folders starting with number one. So it's gonna be folder one, folder two, and then within each folder, I'm setting it to only write 100 files within each folder. So that is what this counter is here for. It's mainly folder counter is to generate the new folders. Now the folder size is what I'm using to set how many files I want to write into each folder. So in this case, I have set this to 100, but you can change this to anything. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna change it to 1000 for this exercise. So this is what I'm setting up my folder size. So each folder, when it's created, will only have 1000 files within it. Now I can go along here a little more. So this is pretty much the same. I'm just declaring the file system variable again. And this here, what I'm using is using RS here to open my table. My actual table name in this case is tutorial table. So I'm gonna get this name here. I'm just gonna go rename, Control C, which is copying. Now I'm gonna go into here, and when I'm here, what it's doing is selecting everything from the table, from the input table, which in my case is tutorial table. So I'm selecting all the records from the tutorial table. Here I set up the generating naming, counting for the names, which is just going to start also at 1. This is the folder counting, which is also going to start at 1 here, and this is what it's doing here, is looping the table. So pretty much it's going to loop until it reaches the end of the table, until it is equal to true. Here I'm using like file counter, and this is what I'm using to write only 1000 files per folder. And here pretty much what I'm saying is, do while the file counter is less than the folder size, which is 1000. So it's counting. Once it gets to 1000, it get out of the loop, and then it creates another folder and you start counting again another 1000. So that's pretty much what it's doing here. So right here, what I'm doing is using the file system object, and this is mainly for the folder creation. I'm checking if that particular folder that I'm creating for organization purposes exists. If so pretty much I'm doing here, like if folder exist is equal to false, which in this case means that it doesn't exist, then what I'm doing is I'm creating that folder. So pretty much, like if it's not there, I create a folder. Obviously if the folder is there, you're just gonna skip this, and then after that it goes into the actual copying and renaming. So the field within the table that contains the full file path to the file is named full file path. So I'm going to make sure that I have this alias in the code. Otherwise, we're gonna get an error. So if I go back here and I go here, you see here when it says call fso copy file, this is the command that we're using to copy the file, and this is the field that we're using to pull the full path from. So here I'm pretty much copying the file from here, from the original path, into this new file path here. I just ran it into this particular folder, which is the same, up here. But you can obviously change this to any, any folder that you would like to write the file to. So the destination directory, this is what you want here. So you want to replace this particular string here with your destination directory. So you can, if you want to do that globally, you can do Control C and do Control F, paste that, replace all, and then here you can put your destination folder, whatever it is. In my case, I'm going to be using this here. So that's pretty much that. Another thing that I want to point out is that for the folders that I'm creating, I'm using a 4-digit padding. You can change this to 3 digits or 2 digits or 5 digits. But and within this code, for example, when I'm creating the folders to write the 1000 files, the first folder is going to be named 0001. Once it reaches the 1000 files, the next folder is going to be named 0002, and it's going to continue from there. You're going to see that at the at the end once we are said and done. But that's pretty much what I decided to do. But you can always change this to anything you want. You can change it to 3 digits, 2 digits, whatever works best for you. With regards to the file names, I decided to use a 6-digit pattern for the file names. But again, you can change this as you see fit. You can change it to 7 digits, 8 digits, or less than that. Um, and within this particular command here, so that I'm using copying from here to this is where I wanted to copy it to, and I using the counters that the variables that I use for the counters to create the folders and the file name, and also I'm using this additional functionality for FSO that can actually extract the extension from the base name from that path, from the full path there. So FSO has multiple other uses. You can also set file rights to secure, read only, and things of that nature. Those are functionalities there that if you guys want to see, feel free to reach out to me, and like I'm more than happy to create another tutorial on how to do, how to play around with those functionalities. So I can go back to the next line here. So this particular line here, I wrote it just to for you and the end user to have a sense of like what is going on with the code and where it stands. So as the code is working, this information is going to be printed here on this immediate window. But let me show you how you can display this immediate window if you don't have it in place. So in order to display it, all you have to do is go to View, and click on immediate window. Once you click here, that particular little window there is going to show up, and then anything that you have as debug that print is going to be displayed as the code is running. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that you guys knew that. Here, this is the generic file name. So what it's doing here is adding a 1 every time that the one the one number is used. Like it goes to the next one. For example, if number 1 was already used for a file name, then it counts 1 more, and number 2 is gonna be used for the next file name. So there's no duplicate file names, and the code doesn't crash. Here, the file counter is literally counting the files to make sure that we only have 1,000 files per folder. This is what this is being used for. And here, this is like moving to the next record within the table. So pretty much after you finish with the first record in the table, then you move to the next one, and it just continues the loop until it gets to the end. I added this particular line here because it will be possible that I move to the next record and then it doesn't exist in the table. So just in case I move to the next record and that was the end of it, I wanted to exit this particular loop here because it's a loop within the other loop. So that's pretty much what he's doing. But he is pretty much just looping 1,000 times to make sure that I'm only keeping 1,000 files per folder. Here it goes to what after he does that, it goes out of it. It checks again to make sure that we're not out of the table. If it's not, then it goes it goes like move next. Which this actually might not be doing what I wanted to do, because if I move next here and then it falls out of this and then it moving next again, it's not doing what I wanted to do. So this move next here we don't really need. We're gonna remove this. This is not needed here. So after that, what I'm doing is I'm adding a 1 to the folder. For example, if the first folder that we created was 1, which is was a 001, and we already added 1,000 files. Now we want to create a new folder with number 2. So that is the purpose of this right here. So let me save this real quick, and always before I run the code fully, that it gets automatically going, I like to test it on line by line basis. And in order to do that, all you have to do is press the F8 key. So let me show you guys how to do that. In your keyboard, you just do F8, but this is how it's going to look. So it starts on the first line. You read that. You don't have to do this. You can do literally F5, just run it. But I like to do this at the beginning, so the code is running how I would like it to run. So you do F5. So it's gonna start here. So first it's gonna check the folder. He's gonna copy the file, and now it's gonna print the first file. It was already copied. It's doing the counter. It's gonna go back again. It copied the second file, and now I can just do F5 and just let it run. So as you guys can see now, the code is moving through all the files. I think I have so it looks like it froze, but it's not. um I think for this particular case I have I think I had like over 20,000 files, so it's like looping to them. You might think that it's frozen here. I mean, that's something is wrong with the code, but it's not. If I actually go to my destination folder where I'm moving these files to, let me go back here. You will see that folders were actually created. Are still running. So right now, let me see in what folder. Okay, it's up to folder 9. So it did 500 at 584, and here it did 1000. It seems like the code probably just finished. Okay, so there was an error here. Path not found. Let's see. So here, path not found. If I do enter here and I do this, it's probably something wrong with this path here. Maybe like one of those Windows things. And there it is. So let me do this real quick. I am going to stop this. It's because of the path. Save. I am going to go back here. I am going to put a weird path. New part of the field. I'm going to use to call and change this, and I'm going to delete all these guys. I don't want to deal with these guys right here. Delete. Okay. So we got that. Now if I look here, so we got 15,757. That's how many files we're working with. I am going to close this table. I am going to go back to this here. I'm going to delete these guys. They're all gone. I'm going to rerun it. Now have in mind again that the reason that I encountered that error is because we have those special characters there, which Access was getting confused with, but that shouldn't be the case anymore. I'm gonna be writing them again here, and I'm gonna have them side by side so you can see them, literally both of them working simultaneously. So you can see that it's like how it's creating the folders, that it's actually doing what it needs to do. And in this case, since I already tested the code, what I'm gonna do is what's going on here? What I'm gonna do is I just gonna do F5. There's no, I don't have to like literally look into it no more because I know that it was functioning correctly. So I'm just gonna do F5. So it's running. As you can see, the first folder was created. There was 1,000 files. Second folder, 3. So as you can see, every time that that it hits 1,000, a new folder is created. It's continuing. So we got 15,000 here. So I'm expecting 15 folders. A little, maybe no, 16 maybe. We'll see in a second. We got 15,000 and change. So we should get somewhere between 15 to 16. Okay, it's almost there. It's moving along. Moving along, moving along. Dun, dun. Okay, we got 14. We're almost at the end. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so we ended up having 16. So it seems like it finished. You will know that it finished if you go back to the code and just click anywhere and the cursor goes somewhere. You will notice that it finished. Now you can, if you want, you can simply spot check to make sure, just to have to see what happened. As you can see, there's 1,000 files here. The next file here should be 1001, the name. As you can see, that's what we have. And we have like 1,000 files again. If I go here, as you can see, the first file was 1401, which makes sense because everything is organized. And this will have the last set, which 1501, and it goes all the way to to this to 757. So the code is doing what we wanted it to do. Um, so yeah, I mean that's pretty much how how you would do this automatically. I also wanted to show you because you might not necessarily know how to go into the modules in Access in order to make this work. Code itself is being provided below, so you can go ahead and just click on it and get the code. But when you were creating like a new code from scratch, all you had to do is go to create, and just click on module. So pretty much what you will need to do to make it run is you can just copy the code, and code this, click on module. You can do Control A, delete, and just paste it, and there's your code. Um, and from there you can just play around, run with it. You can change the parameters as you see fit. But it will work as long as you follow the instructions. So this concludes this video. Please subscribe to my page, and feel free to get back to me on any exercises that you would like to see with data moving forward. I would I would get it done for you guys, and provide you with another tutorial. Um, thank you very much. Have a good day, and God bless you.